Greetings and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of Old But Not Cold with Lease, the point of view from a seasoned perspective. And tonight we are going to listen to some oldies and I'm going to chat about some things of old that may bring back some memories of nostalgia from some of you, at least in my age group. And perhaps some of you youngsters out there may remember your parents or grandparents that have experienced or remember some of these things. So I hope you enjoy this broadcast. And if you have any old memories that brings a smile across your face, please place them in the comments. Before we begin, always give yourselves a round of applause for making it to and through another day because each day is a blessing. So I'm going to take it back, way back with Junior Walker and the All Stars. Again, happy Saturday to one and to all. Perhaps it is Sunday, depending upon where you are on the globe. And welcome back to another edition of Old But Not Cold with Lease. Now, some of you may remember this song from the soundtrack of Malcolm X, directed by Spike Lee and starring Denzel Washington. So, again, I'm going to be playing some oldies, but one of the first things I wanted to talk about is remembering again that at this time of year is rough on me and rough on many people, remembering our loved ones, but it also brings a smile to my face when I think about my mom, and I can never forget the times that, and yes, I said times with a plural because even though it may be hard for some of you all to actually believe, I wasn't always a good girl. I was a bad girl, and my backside met and was reunited with a switch many times. So I wonder how many of you in the audience and those who may catch the replay, if this image brings back any memories, good or bad, because back in the day, especially in the country where I grew up in, we had many bushes, and those bushes were strong and they bared very thick branches, which Back in the olden days, we called them switches, and that was one of the forms of punishment we all received when we were bad. And as I mentioned, I would get the switch to the backside many a days, and my brother would actually go get them and say, "Here, ma, here's some more. These are stronger." So, yeah, my little brother played a part in my punishments, but at first I really didn't understand them and why she thought it would make a difference as I gotten older. But now that I'm older, I understand that bad behavior should not be rewarded. And in my opinion, and I may get some pushback, and that's good. I don't mind dissent can be healthy as long as it's respectful. But I believe, unfortunately, some young children nowadays, not all, they have no direction. They don't understand punishment. In fact, some of them are actually rewarded for bad behavior. And in my opinion, again, I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or anything under that umbrella, but just from observations, when you don't punish, and it doesn't have to be physical, it could be removing something they enjoy or something to let them know this is not good. You should not be doing this. This is wrong. But to reward them, you're actually enabling that behavior, which in time could end up resulting in a product of perhaps a criminal or being in the system or even worse. So I just want people to think about those things and keep in mind that parents of old and grandparents, they believed in punishment and they also believed in it takes a village. Nowadays, in some communities, not all kids are raising themselves. And I took a break yesterday and went to use the restroom, and there were some teens sitting at a booth, and the language that they were using, it was unbelievable. And it was language that adults would use, and they were so free with using it. Makes me wonder if they're hearing it not just at school, not just on the bus or the playgrounds, if they're not hearing it at home as well. So again, it just makes me wonder. So let's segue into one of my favorite oldies groups, and I wonder if it was one of your favorites too. The Tempting Temptations. And this was 1972. 1972. I think this rings true in 2025 for many people, unfortunately. You're listening to Old But Not Cold with Leese. They do not make music like this anymore, in my opinion.
It was the 3rd of September. That day I'll always remember. Yes, I will. 'Cause that was the day that my daddy died. I never got a chance to see him. Never heard nothing but bad things about him. Mama, I'm depending on you. Tell me the truth. Mama just hung her head and said, son, Papa was a lonely stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his on. When he died,
All he left was all alone. Y'all remember that?
Mama was a lonely stone on Sunday. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. When he
All he left was all alone. Yes, the Temptations were no joke back then at all. Now, the next thing, as a young kid growing up, I remember not having steak and filet mignon and shrimp and all those delicacies many people had. We had vegetables, and my mother would say vegetables. I mean, we were fed. But I remember coming home from school, and we had this almost three times a week. Wonder if any of you have had Orton's fish sticks. We had a lot of products from Orton's, and back in the day, there was a place where my mom would go. It was called Murray's Steakhouse, and she also would get these things. They were oh my gosh, I should have put a picture up of those, but they were little thinly slices of, they called it steak back then, but they were steakums. That's what they were. They were steakums. and she would get the hoagie rolls and cut up her onion, and she had some good fried onions. Mama made the best fried onions and green peppers and had it smelling some good back then. She had the big old jars of mayonnaise. Be careful, y'all, with the mayo. You got to take care of your cholesterol when you get older. But she had it was Hellman's mayonnaise, Lord have mercy. And she would dress it up so nicely. But I remember one time I said, Mama, and she had cheese. I'm going to get into that in a moment. But I said, Mama, this don't taste like a steak and cheese sandwich that I had at a carry out. She said, Gal, if you don't sit down and shut up and eat that meal and be thankful. I said, okay, Mom, it's good. But yes, I remember the steakums from Murray's Steakhouse, and then she would get a half smokes, a quarter-pound smoke. She would pack that cart up. But Gordon's fish sticks, yes, I remember those like yesterday. And to be honest, a lot of people are worrying about turkeys and hams and things of that nature. Uh, to be honest, just to sit at the table with her as she went over my homework and eat a couple of fish sticks with her, I would trade that today, honestly, for anything. And I know that's not possible, but that's how much um, I missed her and still do. So let's take it back a little bit more and go to the Jacksons. I think many people remember Jacksons.
You and I must prepare. We must bring salvation back. Where there is love, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll reach out my hand. I'll have faith in all. Just call my name. I'll be there. Oh, I'll be there. Come around, take the money. That's the land that I found. I'll be there. The love that's gone. I'll be just there. I keep holding on. Yes, I will. Let me fill your heart with joy and togetherness. Till it's all I'm after. Whenever you need me, I'll be there. I'll be there to protect you. Yeah, baby. With an unselfish love, I respect you. Just call my name, I'll be there.
You're listening to Old But Not Cold with Leese.
I'll be there. Let us go. I'll be your strength. I keep holding on.
Now, the Jackson Five that played in our house a lot with other oldies, yes, indeed. But let's get back to the food now. There were cans and cans of this, and Mama, I miss you and love you so much, Mama. But Mama tried to convince both myself and my little brother that we were eating ham sandwiches. Not just ham sandwiches, but ham and cheese sandwiches. And for anybody, anybody that were struggling back in the day, how many of you, and you don't have to admit to this, but again, I try to be transparent, are familiar with or remember government cheese? Everybody on our block got some, and let me tell you, I don't know what was in that. I believe it was pasteurized, but that government cheese, or the way they said it back in the day, government cheese, made the best grilled cheese sandwiches, and my mom used to make best, the best tomato soup. So again, those of you in the chat that remembers any of this, please put a one. Matter of fact, don't put a one. Put an 11 because we are in the month of November and it's my birthday month. And those of you, if you want to show a little bit more love, put a birthday cake in the chat. But those of you that remember spam, as a matter of fact, those of you that might remember fish sticks, put that in the chat. And those of you, again, you don't have to admit to this because some people are ashamed of how they may have grown up. I'm not. It has made me the person that I am today, very humble. And you never know, as we can see now, when you might need help. Remember, pride and what the Bible says about pride. Government cheese. If anyone dares to, and not ashamed, if you were, or if you haven't used, if you knew of a family, put that in the chat. Like I said, put a number 11 or a birthday cake in the chat if you remember that. And those of you that remember switches or at least heard of them back in the day, put that in the chat. Now I want to go back. I want to go back to one of my favorite oldies, and I think it was one of my favorite oldies because he was one of my favorite temptations, and hopefully you'll enjoy this as well. Again, one of my oldies. Old but not cold with Leese.
It's not that I don't love you. You know how much I do. And it's not about someone to take the place of you. It's just the feel you feel within me every time you touch my hand. And a dread shake my body that even I don't understand. So I'm leaving this time for Panama. I'm gonna walk away from love. Before ooh, you're clinging to me tighter than you ever have before. I don't understand, but I know it's gonna take everything I've got to keep walking out the door. But those words you got around me will be close someday. And I'd rather leave you holding on than pushing your way. So leave it. This time is far. I'm gonna walk away from love. People love.
That was actually my favorite part. So, thinking about music and dancing back, coming up when we were young, there was a program that came on, American Bandstand. Now, for those of you who might, if you think you know the host of that show, he's no longer with us, but put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. The host of American Bandstand. Any guesses? He also hosted, for those of you who enjoy trivia, a lot of the New Year's Rockin' Eve. Again, that's a good hint for you. New Year's Rockin' Eve. So let's go back a little bit with Smokey Robinson and see if you remember this song.
People say I'm the life of the party cause I get your gut too. Although I might be the laughing loud and hearty, deep inside I'm blue. So take a good look at my face. My smile on the face. Project of my tears. I need you. I need you. Since you left me, if you see me with another girl, singing like I'm having fun. Although she may be cute, she's just a substitute. Cause you're the perfect one. So take a good look. Oh, you see my smile. So look a little bit closer. Oh, the tracks of mine. Oh, I need you.
Now, a lot of young people were crazy about Smokey Robinson. So let's up the tempo a little bit and see if you remember This song, again, it's one of the oldies, but I think a lot of people enjoyed this. And it's, like I said, a little bit more of a up tempo. The Supremes.
I need love to ease my mind. I need to find someone for mine. But Mama said, don't worry, love will know it's time to wait. She said, love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. Don't worry, love, no, you just have to wait. You gotta trust, give it time. No matter how long it takes, but how many heartaches must I stay before I find love to let me live? Right now, we wanna think that keeps me hanging on. When I feel my strength, yeah, it's almost over. Mama said, love, you just have to wait. She said, love, 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 easy. It's something I didn't take. How much I wait? How much more than I take? You got loneliness. Because my heart's hard to break. No, I can't bear to live my life alone. I can't take
Those were the Supremes, and of course, with Diana Ross. So we're going to go back a little bit further and speed up the pace a little bit because, again, American Bandstand, they dance to everything but a lot of up tempo. And wondering, how many of you remember Martha Reeves and the Vandellas? Put it in the chat.
oh, give me back. When are you coming back? Give me back. Jimmy, oh, Jimmy back. When are you coming back? My arms are missing you. My lips feel the same way too. I try so hard to leave. I promise I do. But this boy keeps coming around. He's trying to let me distance down. Hey, Jimmy, Jimmy, oh, Jimmy, now you coming back. Jimmy, Jimmy, oh, Jimmy, you better hurry back. He called me on the phone about 3 times a day. Now my heart is listening to what he has to say. But this loneliness I have within keeps reaching out to be his friend. Hey, baby, baby, oh, baby, when are you coming back? Baby, baby, oh, you better hurry back. You need to hurry back. You hurry back.
And that was Jimmy Mack by Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. And there are so many songs back in the day that were played on American Bandstand. And we can't forget about Soul Train. Soul Train. I can't quite get it the way I want to, but many of you understand what I mean. So let's go to another thing that I used to enjoy as a kid, enjoy spending time with my mom. And this right here is a memory that I'll never forget. Every Saturday morning, I would get up and get myself together. We would eat breakfast and I would watch, and I know there's somebody in the audience, or there's somebody in the audience, or somebody that knows somebody in the audience that watched Kung Fu Theater every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I remember so many of those movies. I kid you not. And not only did I remember some of the movies, go back so far as putting movies on VHSs, and um, I don't think that's legal anymore, but I didn't know back then about VHSs or anything like that. But yes, a lot of the songs that I listened to, I put on I put on VHS, and I would tape them, and just to listen to them, just to listen to them. I enjoyed it so much, so much. But that was one of the things that I remember doing, and that was listening to and watching many of the Kung Fu Theater movies. And I know a lot of you remember that. So to honor that, let's listen to something that may bring back some memories.
Absolutely.
1970.
Absolutely. Say it again, y'all. Look out. Absolutely. Listen to me. I despise. It means destruction of this life. Want me to tell that I was a mother when their sons go to fight and lose their lives. I stand whoa. Good God, y'all.
Absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
War.
Oh,
What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
listen to me. It ain't nothing but a heartbreak. And only to the undertaker. This is the enemy to the whole man. The God of war blows around me. War is causing rage within the younger generation. Induction, destruction. Who wants to die? Good God, y'all. Absolutely. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Listen to me. It ain't nothing but a heartbreaker. Got one friend, that's the undertaker. And down many young men's dreams. Made him disabled, sinner and me. Life is much too short and precious. It's been fighting war these days. War can't give life, it can only take it away. Oh, good God, y'all. Absolutely. Say it again.
Okay, that was War by Edwin Starr. And that song just reminds me of, as I mentioned, my days of young watching Kung Fu Theater every Saturday. But, ladies and gentlemen, my Saturday mornings didn't stop there. No, after Kung Fu Theater, what was next? Wrestling. Oh, yes, I was and still am a huge wrestling fan. However, unfortunately, a lot of the wrestlers that I grew up with, unfortunately, they've passed on because, as you know, I'm 56 and going on 57, God willing, and many many that I remember, my favorites, they've long passed on now. And some of them I believe are still around, but to name a few of my favorites, of course, Andre the Giant, Jimmy Superfly, Snooker, Dusty Rose, Rick Woo, Flair. We had the Von Erichs, we had Pedro Morales, we had The Undertaker, we had Big John Studd, we had Rowdy Roddy Piper, we had Kamala, the Ugandan giant. We had some of the crazy managers, Classy Freddie Blassie. And who could forget who wore a rubber band or something around his goatee? Captain Lou Albano. That that character right there was something else, but he went on to appear in a music video, for those of you that might remember, with Cyndi Lauper, and that song was, I'll give you a couple moments to think if you can remember it. Do you remember it? Do you remember that song Lou Albano made a cameo appearance in a Cyndi Lauper song? Girls just want to have fun. So there was also the Iron Sheik, Randy Macho Man Savage, Hulk Hogan, who's gone, one of my favorites, Tony Atlas, Rocky Johnson. The list goes on. Alpha and Sika, the Samoans. There were so many. There were so many, but those are the things that I grew up on, and I went to a couple of the wrestling events when it was it Capitol Arena or the Capitol Center? I forgot. It was someplace in Largo, but that's now I believe in DC. But I went to see when they had a steel cage match, and I remember getting a little Hulkamania with my ex. He was so sweet. His birthday is coming up, as a matter of fact, on November the 21st. He bought me a little Hulkamania bear, and yellow, it had a yellow little T-shirt on and Hulkamania on it. I don't know what happened to that little teddy bear, but yes, and a big one of those foam fingers. So I remember that so much, so much, and we had a good time. We had a good time. It was always fun going to those events and just movies. Do any of you remember the drive-in movies where you actually drive your vehicle or ride with someone and sit out in the vehicle and watch your movie on a huge screen while you're inside your car? Now that brings back a lot of nostalgia. So let's take it back a little bit again with good old Smokey Robinson.
Where you are, a gold baby star. You see the people on your block and don't be shy. You see your baby smile. Cause everybody's on. Oh, come on now.
That brings back so many memories. Just looking at this picture right now of wrestling and then the Kung Fu Theater. Those of you that remember any of those, please put it in the chat. Put a number 11 or a birthday cake in the chat if you remember Kung Fu Theater and wrestling on Saturday mornings. That this song right here, sums this entire broadcast up. Old but not cold, and just thinking back on the old days and good old school music and some old memories. How I wish I could go back to those days, just for a little bit. Stevie Wonder, the genius Stevie Wonder, said it best. And thank you for tuning in to Old But Not Cold with Leese.
Looking back on when I was a little nappy-headed boy. And my only worry was the Christmas, what would be my joy. Even though we sometimes would not get a thing, we were happy with the joy the day would bring. Sneaking out the back door, hang out with those hoodlums friends of mine. Ooh, really at the back door, but though I thought I told you not to go outside. Trying your best to bring the water to your eyes. Thinking it might stop her from whipping you behind. That makes no change. Good. Come back once more. Why did those things? And so have you go. That makes no change. Good. Come back once more. Why did those things? And so have you go. 'Cause I love them so. Early steady spelling, contemplating doctor with that girl. Just don't tell her I give you anything you want in this whole wide world. Mama gives you money for Sunday school. You trade just for candy after church is through. Smoking cigarettes, writing something nasty on the wall. You nasty boy. Teacher sends it to the principal's office down the hall. You go up and learn that kind of thing ain't right. While you are doing it, it's your parents' side. Let's go big, good. Come back, why did those things? Yeah, so I do go. I was so big, good. Come back, why did those things? Yeah, so I do go.
Yes, how I wish those days would come back just for a little while. So also, some of the things I used to enjoy was sitcoms back in the day. And one of my favorites happens to be this one right here. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Right here. Now, can anybody, and I'm not going to give the name out, I'm going to let you all be interactive. Remember the name of this sitcom, and if you could name a couple of actors or actresses that were in this sitcom. And it was such a, to me, a wholesome show that I enjoyed watching it, and I always looked forward to another episode of it. So I'm gonna let you all think about that, and while you do, take it back a little bit more. Another one from the great Stevie Wonder.
Once in my life, I have someone who needs me, someone I needed so long. For once unafraid, I go where life leads me. Somehow I know I'll be strong. For once I can touch what my heart used to dream of long before I knew. Oh, someone warm like you would make my dream come true. Yeah, and once in my life, I won't let sorrow hurt me, not like it's hurt me before. For once I have something I know won't desert me, I'm not alone anymore. For once I can sing, which is mine, you can't take it. Long as I know I have no I can make it. Once in my life, I have someone who needs me.
Yes, that is the amazing Stevie Wonder. And again, do you remember this? If you do, put an 11 in a chat or a birthday cake. You're listening to Old But Not Cold with Leese. Well, we're talking about some things of old and we're listening to some oldies. So the next, does anyone remember this this right here? This movie. Some of you, some of you do this often. And I think a lot of guys do this often. I'll give you a little hint. The clap should give it away. I'm still not going to tell you the name of the movie, but this is a huge hint. And thank you for tuning in to Old But Not Cold with Leese.
Ooh, you might not ever get rich, but let me tell you, it's better than taking it. There ain't no telling who you might be. A movie star, or maybe even a Indian chief at the car wash, working at the car wash, girl. Come on and sing it with me, car wash. Sing it with the feeling now, car wash, girl. Come some of the work gets kinda hard. This ain't no place to be if you plan on being a star. Let me tell you, it's always cool. And the boss don't mind sometimes if you act the fool at the car wash. Whoa, 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 whoa. Talking about the car wash, girl. Come on, y'all, and sing it for me. Car wash. Woo, woo, woo. Car wash, girl. And work. Well, those cars never seem to stop coming. Work and work. Keep those bags and machines coming. Work and work. My fingers to the bone. Work. If I can't wait till it's time to go home. Hey, it's a car wash day. Fill up and you don't have to pay. Come on and give us a play. Run away from the car wash. Talking about the car wash. Car wash, yeah. Come on, y'all, and sing it with me. Car wash. Sing it with feeling, y'all. Car wash, yeah. Whoa, 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 car wash. Never seen the stop.
Okay, I'm going to give you a moment to see if you know the name of this movie to put in the chat. Have you figured it out yet? Okay, another one of my favorites, and I know it has to be one of your favorites as well. And I'm telling you, I laughed and laughed and laughed so much watching this. Who remembers the name of this long running sitcom that is still, I believe, in syndication? Any hints? I'll just say Fred and Lamont, but you need to name the actual show. And as you think about it, and it shouldn't be too hard, let's listen to some more Stevie.
Oh, yeah, baby. Like the fool out when I stayed too long. I'm wondering if your love's still strong. Ooh, baby. Here I am, signed, sealed, delivered from you. time when we said goodbye. I'm back and not ashamed to cry. Oh, baby, yeah, my children never from you. Here I am, oh, so hey, I done my foolish things that I really didn't think. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, indeed, Stevie Wonder. So, again, the name of this sitcom, again, long running, and I do believe it's in syndication. Next thing that I remember as a youngster, and I wonder if many of you may remember or may know somebody that remembers this. We used to catch them when we were little. That was one of the things we used to do when we played outside. So, this is some trivia for you all. Trivia from Old but Not Cold with Leese. Where we're talking about some things of the past and a little bit of trivia mixed in. Again, what is this? What is this thing on this person's finger? You could see this in the country, and I've actually witnessed them in 2025. So, again, I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about what that is. And we're going to listen to a little bit of the Four Tops. I swear the Temptations and the Four Tops, when they did their battles, that was something amazing. So, again, what is this that so many people back in the day would play and try to catch them? Another game that many of us played back in the game is illustrated in this photo right here. For those of you that remember playing this game, and as you can see, the little person is against a tree with his eyes closed, and someone is running away. What's the name of that game? And while you think about that, let's listen to some more of the Jackson 5. All right. Any answers yet? You can put them in the chat. For those of you that may catch the replay, put your answers there because I will be checking. Next thing, and I mentioned this earlier, takes me way back. Some of the things that I could not see at one time, but didn't want the moment to go away. I would capture those moments. What is that mechanism right there on the screen that so many people use to capture moments? Your thoughts, your guesses as to what those mechanisms were. And we'll listen to some Supremes while you think about that.
Baby, 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 don't leave me. Ooh, please don't leave me all by myself. I've got this burning, burning yearning feeling inside me, ooh, deep inside me, and it hurts so bad. You came into my heart so tenderly with a burning love that stings like a bee. Now that I surrender, so help with me. You don't wanna leave. Ooh, you wanna leave me. Ooh, baby, baby, where did our love go? Ooh, don't you want me? Don't you want me no more? Ooh, baby.
And the last trivia question. Name the series that so many people, especially the fellas, would run and rush home to watch. Name the series and all three of the actresses. And while you do, we'll listen to a little bit more of the Temptations.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. I guess you said what can make me feel this way. My girl, my girl, talking about my girl. My girl. I've got so much honey, the bees and me. I've got a sweeter song than the bird in the tree. Well, I can say what can make me feel this way. My girl, my girl, talking about my girl. My girl.
Okay, your thoughts and answers as to this hit and the name of all three of the actresses. Curious to know how many people remember those. So, again, let's go over some of the things that brings back memories to me. And for those of you just coming in, put in the chat or leave in a comment if you know what these things are, if you ever used it or know somebody that may have or experienced these things back in the day. And thank you so much for tuning in to Old But Not Cold with Leese, a point of view from a season perspective where we did a little time travel back in the day with a little bit of trivia mixed in. Thank you for tuning in and keep your notifications set for the next time. And we'll close it out with the amazing Gone Too Soon voice of Marvin Gaye.
I bet you wonder how I do. I'll show hands to make me do with some of the time you do before. Between the two of us, guys, you know I love you more. It took me by surprise. I was late when I found out yesterday. Don't you know that I heard through the grapevine? Not much longer would you be mine. Oh, I heard through the grapevine. Oh, I'm just about to lose my mind. Honey, honey, well, I know a man ain't supposed to cry, but these tears I can't hold inside. Losing you within my life, you see. 'Cause you mean that much to me. You could have told me yourself that you